Everyone. So in today's session, let us try understanding the Mahavastu programming for symbols and Panchakoshas. Before we actually dive deep into understanding this, let us understand the fundamental aspect of Vastu. Now, Vastu as such or Mahavastu is based on four pillars of existence. The first pillar completely depends on the Pancha Tattva or the Pancha Mahabhuta or the five elements of nature. The second thing that it deals with is the 32 entrances associated with Mahavastu. The third pillar that we talk about is the 16 zones that is linked with Mahavastu. And the fourth pillar is related to the symbols and the Panchakoshas. Now, when we understand the symbols and Panchakoshas in detail, there is a step-by-step way of how we navigate through before we actually incorporate symbols and the Panchakoshas into our actual design element. Okay, so firstly, you will be understanding whether the elements, the five elements in the plot that you have chosen, in the site that you have chosen, or whichever area that you want to build your house in is chosen. First, you will see if the five elements are balanced in the design that you have proposed. The next thing you will see if the entrances are placed properly and according to Vastu. The third thing that you will be seeing is whether the 16 zones are properly placed and the placement of all elements are according to Vastu zones. The last thing that we'll be looking into is the symbols and the Panchakoshas to make sure the overall usability of the space is Vastu compliant, and at the same time it helps bringing in positive energies to the space. Now, in this module, typically we'll only be covering about the Panchakoshas. We'll be understanding what a Panchakoshas is and how exactly its incorporation into design is actually going to be considered. Okay, so let me just quickly, talk about the Panchakoshas in this thing. So when we talk about the Panchakoshas are basically dependent on five layers of existence. Pancha means five and koshas mean layers of existence. So the first and the most outermost kosha that we have is the Annamaya Kosha. Post that, the second kosha that we have is the Pranamaya Kosha. The third one is the Manomaya Kosha. The fourth one is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And the fifth one, being the most internal one, is basically the Anandamaya Kosha. So what actually happens is the Anandamaya Kosha is basically the layer of being in the most truest bliss, where your deepest and the most subconscious mind is this absolute state of bliss. Okay, your that is your innermost layer of all your koshas. The outermost layer and the first layer according that we define is the Annamaya Kosha. The Annamaya Kosha is basically the physical layer, that is the food and basically all our external being, whatever is there, that is your Annamaya Kosha. The Pranamaya Kosha is the second layer after the Annamaya Kosha, which completely depends with the force of the prana or the energy. Next is Manomaya, that basically deals with the mental aspects of the mental emotional layer of the inner world. Vijnanamaya Kosha is the psychic body that we have, which surrounds the entire intuition and all of that. The last and the innermost layer is the absolute state of bliss that a person can go in, and that is through Anandamaya. And the reason why we call this as the Panchamaha Kosha, I'm sorry, Pancha Koshas, is that these are known to be the gateways of the soul. And this is mentioned in various things, such as when you go into study of Vedanta or the Upanishads. This is one of the most examined and one of the most believed concepts as well. So, since you've understood the basics of what exactly this layers of existence mean, let us try understanding how exactly this incorporated into your space is going to be helping or is going to be beneficial. Now, the ultimate purpose of a building as well is known to help you guys achieve the ananda or the eternal state of bliss staying in a particular place, right? Whether it is going through amassing a huge amount of wealth or accumulating fortune or fame, or if you want to see how exactly your even like if you go into vastu detail, you'll be able to understand each zone, each entrance has its own attributes. So all of them can be achieved. The eternal state of bliss, that is Anandamaya Kosha, can be done using the building that you're going to be staying in as well. So your space that we consider, the plot that you'll be staying in, is tend to be termed as alive, and whatever desires we put into that space, knowingly or unknowingly or knowingly, is going to kind of manifest itself, because not only because of the way you're going to keep asking for it or working towards it or actually going through manifesting it, but the space itself is going to be such that if it's properly designed, it will support the manifestations and speeden up the process. So this forms of the basic mantra of life programming can be done through Mahavastu using Vastu itself. So after being able to recognize your desires very clearly, you can program your energy, mind, body, that is your, five Pancha Koshas, such a way that it is going to get connected to the Vastu of your house to help you guys ultimately achieve the dreams that you're wishing to have. Okay. It is not only going to help you get a healthy balance between the existence and to ensure that you have good health, good wealth, abundance and opportunities, but also to be able to get you a lasting prosperity. So any imbalance in between the existence, that is the Pancha Koshas, can be one of the root causes for all your problems in your day-to-day lives, because even if basically what I'm talking about is you're manifesting the wrong things in the space that you would be living. So that is why it is so important for all of us to actually understand how this is done. So now that you've understood about the Pancha Koshas, like the basic fundamentals of Pancha Koshas, let us try understanding a little deeper and understand how exactly its effect is being used into a space, or its effect is being manifested into a space. So when you look into Mahavastu, it is basically the whole concept of balancing the energies based on the four pillars that we have discovered. The four pillars being the Panchatattva, the 32 zones, the 16 zones, the 32 entrances, and the simples and the five layers of existence itself. And we understood that how it affects if these are not balanced and if they're balanced. But as I said, to make sure that you make most out of the thing, you have to follow the four steps to make sure your entire house or the space you live in is helping you get that complete bliss. So first, like again, repeating myself, you will be understanding whether your five elements of nature, that is that is the space, that is water, that is fire, and all the five elements are balanced properly. Secondly, the 32 entrances are balanced properly, the reason being you've provided entrances that are good and favorable to get those kind of inputs into your life. Third, the zonal placements are correct in the 16 zones. And fourth, that is the simples in the Panchakoshas. If these are done as per Vastu, if these are done, then you will be able to achieve the Anandamaya Kosha by the end of the entire process. Okay. So that is about what exactly this five layers of existence, that is the Pancha Koshas, actually talk about. This is just a very quick understanding of what it is. But when you understand how to incorporate all of this, you'll be able to realize that this is a part of it and one of the pillars as well. So saying that, thank you so much, guys.